What's going on, Jets fans? DTereman back on this Friday afternoon. I hope everybody is staying as cool as they can during this heat wave. We've been up around 98 degrees or higher all week here in South Carolina. So hopefully everybody's staying hydrated, staying cool in their air conditioning as much as possible. Today I wanted to talk about an interview that Breece Hall did at Fanatics Fest on the Get Got podcast with Marshawn Lynch and Mike Robinson. They asked him a bunch of questions, both about this upcoming season and last season. Thought there was a few things that Breece touched on that I thought were noteworthy that I wanted to talk about. First and foremost, he talks about his new quarterback, Justin Fields. He says he brings a sense of calm to the huddle. He adds an element to the run game that's going to help Breece be productive. Obviously, the RPO game, the zone reads, stuff like that, where Justin Fields is a threat to run himself. So it's only going to make the defense hesitate one extra second, potentially allow Breece to get that open rush lane because of how many occupied defenders Fields has on him. So that was the first comment that he made. He said that there's a positive attitude with the new coaching staff coming in. Obviously, Aaron Glenn replacing Robert Saleh. He said that in 2024, it was very difficult and that it's hectic. When it's hectic organizationally, it trickles down to the players and it makes it harder for them when they have emotional, physical, mental stress to go out and compete and be at their best level on Sundays and Mondays and Thursdays. So, not necessarily taking a shot at the organization, but saying that because of the dysfunction, it's not always the player's fault why the product on the field is not great. And for any Jets fan out there that watched last season, you know that it's not always about the players on the field. There's a lot behind the scenes that goes into it too. So he said it's very difficult when organizationally it's hectic. It's going to trickle down on the players. He said that AG keeps it 100 with the players. He tells them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. He said that the coaches are bringing a good stability and a positive culture. Obviously, it remains to be seen just how effective that culture is. Wins and losses determine that, in my opinion, most. So the stability and culture is still wait and see from a fan perspective, but players are obviously buying in. And he did mention that it's not your typical rebuild when a new regime comes in. Obviously, a lot of times in the NFL, new coaches mean you're a bad roster and you have to do a lot of turnover of that roster to become competitive for the years coming down the pike. He said it's not the case here. They're still in win now mode with AG, and it's not going to be something where they lay down in 2025 and look for 2026 and beyond to be competitive. He touched on how when he was a rookie, him, Sauce, and Garrett knew that they needed to hit the ground running because they knew that they were going to be the reason why this team turned around. Obviously, they come in young and hungry, just getting drafted, but they knew that they needed to be the face, almost the face of the franchise immediately. And it seems like all three of them have done a great job of taking that and wearing that badge and becoming the best young players on the team. They asked him about the running back position overall in the NFL. He said it's the most undervalued position in the NFL, and every playoff team that makes it far, especially the ones that win the championship every year, they have a premier running back. So he said that running backs are the most undervalued in the NFL. I somewhat to an extent agree with him. Obviously, when the weather gets cold, you want to pack your run game and defense, and always the best teams I think of, the Ravens, especially with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. They have one of the best dynamic backfields in the NFL, and they're always competing, going on long playoff runs. When asked about his specific goals, he said he doesn't have one set goal in terms of rushing yards or his output in terms of production. He said he's capable of being a 1,000-yard rusher and a 1,000-yard receiver. Obviously, I don't think that he was saying that that is his goal this season, but the fact that he's capable of doing it, and I've said numerous times, 1,700 to 2,000 all-purpose yards for Breece would not surprise me in 2025 based on the run-heavy offense that we expect to see, plus the fact that he might be second or third in progressions on a lot of these pass concepts. Outside Garrett Wilson, it's really, a mixed bag and a who's who of who's going to be that next guy that Justin Fields targets the most. And I think Breece Hall has a strong case to be number 2. So he did say that he's capable of being a 1,000-yard receiver and rusher. He just really cares about the touches, and he wants to get as many touches as possible because he knows that he's explosive when he gets the ball. When asked about who he kind of compares himself to, he gave some really good names in terms of guys that he watches that fit how he runs and not necessarily just some of the best backs that he watches in the NFL, because there's players that you watch at your position, especially for NFL players, that they don't match your play style, right? You want to watch what they do and pick up some of the nuances of their game, but they're not your play style. So obviously, this is a podcast with Marshawn Lynch and Mike Robinson, two running backs. I know Mike Robb was a little bit of a fullback too, but he said he watched the Marshawn Lynches and Reggie Bushes of the world, but he said when he compares himself stylistically to running backs, he watches a lot of Arian Foster, Matt Forte, and Le'Veon Bell. And I think those three are really apt comparisons. Obviously, Le'Veon Bell, because of his patience and his ability to wait for the hole to open up and then burst through it. Arian Foster and Matt Forte were just fluid runners. Like, it didn't seem like they were running as fast as they were, but nobody was able to catch up to them a lot of times. And they're just fluid, smooth movers. So I was glad that he compared himself to those guys instead of just picking some of the best backs in recent NFL history. And then he said he's tired of being a player with potential and he wants to be, quote, a product. So clearly he's hungry. Breece Hall, throughout the entire spring and summer, anytime he's done a media spot, he tells you how hungry he is. He wants to prove that he's the bell cow of this team, and it's not going to be a running back by committee. He's going to be the number one guy. Obviously, Braylon and Isaiah Davis will get their touches, but Breece wants to be the guy, and he wants to prove that he's worthy of the majority of the workload from the running backs in the backfield. So just a couple quick things about the interview with Breece that he did with Marshawn and Mike. I will post the link in the description below for anybody who wants to watch it. It's about 20 minutes from the Fanatics Fest. Hope everybody enjoys their weekend. Stay cool. If you're able to golf, please golf for me. I'm still about 1, maybe 2 weeks away from feeling 100% to be able to golf. So hope everybody enjoys their weekend, and let's go Jets.